Welcome to the Connect studio. My name's Jonathan Spencer-Jones. Today I'm joined by Daniela Sellmann, Global VP Utilities at SAP, and she's joining us on behalf of ESMIG, of which she's a member of the Executive Board. Daniela, would you like to join me?
Hi, Jonathan.
Hello, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I'd like to start to talk to you about smart meters, which are very topical in Europe at the moment for various reasons, which we'll come on to. But to start with, why are smart meters an enabler of the energy transition?
It really is the foundation, isn't it? So if we look at what our utilities need to do and when they need to look at new business processes or enabling, for example, bidirectional charging, including a PV on the roof, installing a battery, it all comes down to having a smart meter installed in order to really show how the energy usage is and to make sure that not just the utilities have the information, but also the end customers. So it has a lot to do with visibility, but also with making the energy transition happening. And without like the hardware and the software parts in the smart meters, it won't be possible.
Well, that brings me on to the next question and the power of smart meter data and analytics.
So from our standpoint, creating an interoperable system where we can jointly share, access, and analyze data is the foundation of everything that we do. If we are not guaranteeing a room where this is happening, specifically in the EU, we cannot consume or leverage or benefit from any of the new services that are upcoming. So having, first of all, the data accessible in a non-discriminatory way is the foundation for future business processes, but also looking at the analytics side, we won't be able to do proper analytics on top of our energy data if we, first of all, do not have the data visible at utilities, but also do not include our end customers in this. And we are super happy that they're now, for example, in October 2022, the European Union created a first draft for the common energy data model or energy data space, which is actually providing a framework of where this energy information can be stored and exchanged in order to make sense out of it. Going from that industry maybe to another industry where that has been super successful is, for example, the automotive space. There, Catena X was created, which is actually a framework and a network where data can be exchanged, anonymized, and where then different vendors can come in, make sense of the data, and offer new business models that wouldn't be there otherwise. So this is something where we believe the moment we have certain data standards that we also share across the EU, we decrease boundaries, because right now everyone is doing it on an individual and country by country basis, and this needs to be changed. And here we need our regulators to come in and to support this.
And what about on the consumer side? What are the best practices for drawing on that data and empowering consumers?
Yeah, from an end customer side. So today, if I look at Germany, for example, there the rollout is not very well done. So right now, I as an end customer cannot access my data. So I do not know how much energy I'm consuming. I cannot really profit from time-off tariffs or time-based and flexible tariffs, because I never know when is the energy expensive or when not, because I really do not have any visibility in my usage. And also, this means the energy that right now I'm creating with my PV installation, for example, on my roof, I cannot feed it back to the grid. There's simply no possibility to do it, even though we have demand-side flexibility in the European legislation since 2019.
Can you delve a bit more into the sort of legislative or regulatory issues that need to be addressed to advance smart metering?
Yeah, absolutely. So we need somehow a common data model or an interoperability so that everyone that participates in the market and all of the vendors speak the same language. We do not have any integration challenges then. And for this, we need our legislators and regulators to come in and really lay the foundation for everything that then can be built upon it. There is a regulation, as I mentioned, that was passed 2019, but right now it is not really consumed or has not been leveraged in the countries. We see a bit of that happening in France, for example. We see a bit of that happening in Italy, but not to an extent that it can really make an impact for the energy transition. The reason why we have it is to make sure when we have electricity peaks, for example, that we do not just invest in building out the grid, but instead go and leverage the flexibility, energy flexibilities that we have somewhere else in the country, which could be either with companies, which could be with end-to-end customers, but still for this, meters is really the foundation. And I think the rollout should have been by 80% by 2020. It wasn't. And right now they have a target until 2028 to make it happen, almost at 80%. And that's still a long way to go.
What challenges then do vendors still face in terms of meeting those targets?
Yeah, I think essentially vendors are ready to do it. Looking at the 21 companies that are part of ESMIG, for example, they are ready to go out and to help spreading and rolling out the smart meter, but this still needs to be pushed by the legislation. And often when we look at the cost-benefit analysis, it really comes down to what are the costs of deploying the technology. But that's just one way to look at it. I think making the energy transition happen also means that we need to look at all of the business models that we can actually leverage if we have a smart meter deployed, and the vendors are ready and here to do it. Yes, we need to look at interoperability. We need to have certain measures in place to scale via the European Union, but it's in place and we are here to do it. But we need our legislators to support us in doing it.
And in terms of the supply chain, is that back to normal now?
We have seen some disruption, specifically since COVID pandemic hit. I think everyone knows the famous example of the ship in the Suez Canal, so to say, but also on the utility side. There are shortages when we listen to our utilities in terms of supplying the transformers, in terms of supplying certain parts and pieces we need in order to build the grid and the assets. Yes, that we have those challenges. But as legislation, everything takes a longer while. I think still we need to move because deploying and rolling out will take some time. So we will overcome the challenges that we have right now.
So the vendors are ready to meet the challenges by the sound of it.
I absolutely think so. Yes, we're ready, and we are ready since a few years already. So not just from a hardware side, but also from a technology side. I'm not just a part of ESMIG, but also from an SAP. And since a long while, we are enabling that you can have your meter at hand all the time, but it's not being leveraged by the customers right now because there wasn't any value in it. But now, if we look at Germany, we do not have access to renewables in a broad way here. We need to include our end customers. How can we include them? Only by smart meters. So yes, I would say we are ready and here to help.
That's good news to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniela, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.